All right, so let's take a look at what we're looking at right now. And this is the old city of Jerusalem. Great view that we're looking at. One of the best views of the old city. And what catches your eye the most, of course, is that golden dome, right? That is the Dome of the Rock. That is a building, a Muslim structure that was built originally in the year 691. It's about 30 years after the lifetime of Muhammad. But the dome actually became gold in more recent times. In the 1950s, when the city was under control of the Jordanians, the Saudis donated the money to make it gold. They wanted to emphasize the importance of Jerusalem at that time. Originally, it was actually more dark, like that dome over there. See the dome over there that I'm pointing to? That's kind of like darkish.
Yes.
All right, that's the Al-Aqsa Mosque. That's actually the place where they pray, the prayer plaza for the Muslims.
Would it be possible that in '75 I went into that mosque?
Yeah. In 1975, you would be able to go into that mosque as well as the Dome of the Rock. They were open to visitors.
One or the other. I can't remember. I remember going. I don't know why we did that.
Yeah.
As a tour, but
well, it's common today for tourists to go onto the Temple Mount. But since the year 2000, the Muslim religious authority who controls the Temple Mount, called the Waqf, no longer allows non-Muslim visitors to enter the Al-Aqsa Mosque or the Dome of the Rock. You can do a tour on the top area where you see there's people standing right now. See where there's people right next to the dome?
Yes.
So you can do a tour all around, but not to go into the actual buildings themselves.
You can go there. So wasn't the temple built kind of like below, like this? Wasn't when you built? I understood that the mosque is not the temple. Is not.
No, go ahead.
The mosque is over there.
The Dome of the Rock and the mosque are totally separate things. Like the mosque is where they pray, and what is inside and what do they use?
So okay, let's understand first of all. The Dome of the Rock is called such because it contains a rock. What is that rock? The Muslims believe that is where Muhammad ascended from heaven. He jumped up from that rock and like Shaquille O'Neal style, right? He got airborne, right? The Jewish belief is that rock is called the foundation stone. We call it Even Hashtia. That stone is where we believe God began to create the world from. That is the foundation of the entire world at that point. In other words, the place where heaven meets earth. And in the ancient times, in the time of King Solomon, when he built the temple also around that rock. That rock was situated in a very special room called the Holy of Holies, Hebrew Kodesh Kodashim. And on top of that rock was positioned the Ark of the Covenant. Okay, the Ark of the Covenant is that coffin-looking structure that you might have seen in the film Indiana Jones: The Lost Ark, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Okay, and it's made of acacia wood overlaid and inlaid with gold. And inside that ark was contained the tablets of the 10 Commandments that Moses brought down from Mount Sinai and stored in there, in that ark, that eventually ended up on that Temple Mount. Okay, well, the ark, it's a whole story what happened to the ark. It became hidden. It went into hiding. It's a whole other story. I can tell that another time, or if you're interested, I can tell it right now. But the point is, this is where the temple stood for both the first temple and the second temple, for a combined total of 830 years. The central point of worship, the holiest place for the Jewish people, was exactly right there.
So they built that right on where?
Built it right on top, okay? Because when they came, it was already over 600 years after the temple was destroyed, and the Christians who were here before the Muslims were basically using that whole site essentially as a garbage dump. And so they just cleared the garbage and built a dome on top, and built a structure on top. Okay, so that's the story with that. Now,
we kind of back up. Is that also where Abraham?
That is correct.
This week's Torah portion.
That is correct. Wow. That very good, very good. Thank you.
I was reading on the airplane, so I just want to get this perspective that it happened there.
It happened there. It happened there. Okay. Wow. Abraham and Isaac, coming from the south, would have come up, coming from Beersheba, they would have come up, or from coming from Hebron, they would have come up from that point over there. That's the south over there. Coming from that hill, if you look carefully at the text, it says, and they saw it from afar. So that's the first place where they could see the Mount Moriah, where Abraham said to the lads, stay here, and me and my son Isaac are going to continue on so they would stay there, and then they would continue on over there to the land of Moriah, to a mountain that I will show you. This was a mountain. Very good point. Why don't we see the mountain today? Guess what? You can't see it from this angle. Later, when we're going to be in the city of David, you're actually going to be able to see the mountain from that point.
And where between the dome and the mosque, wasn't the temple? Wasn't this all like, I don't know, football field long of
correct.
From so that was whole structure.
Right now you see they planted trees on it, which is actually prohibition in Judaism to plant trees on the Temple Mount. That's a different story. But from the mosque, from the Al-Aqsa Mosque, going to the Golden Dome and continuing all the way to those brown buildings over there, that is the full length of the wall. It's literally half a kilometer, or 1,600 feet long.
So you see that that's the mosque. It doesn't look old like that. It's down. See the dome? Oh yeah. Okay, so that's the dome. That's the dome. What is that called?